I've been telling you that Pablo Torre is consistently finding that at the end of his curiosities, there are a whole bunch of things that a lot of people would be interested in knowing more about. And I was just saying before he came on with us here that just this weekend with a group of people, I was talking about something that happened in 1973 that if it happened today would be truly amazing. But it happened 50 years ago, and now he's doing a story on that thing. And Pablo, go ahead and tell the crew, because I told all of them that they're going to be interested in the subject matter. Tell them what it is that you're putting out in public.
Yeah, it's the Yankee Wife Swap story, which I think Greg, as he adjusts his phantom mask, may have a flicker of recognition for.
But say that phrase again, wife swap.
Wife swap, the Yankee wife swap. And you should know that the wife swap part of this undersells the swap. It's a real life story of something that happened in 1973, as you said, 50 years ago now. And it's about two starting pitchers for the New York Yankees, two best friends, two lefties, two guys who were truly together all the time, who decided to not just trade wives, and I mean this in the most carnal and romantic ways. I also mean that they traded their kids. They each had two kids, their pets, their furniture, their houses. Really, it was a husband swap. But they changed lives in the middle of their baseball careers. And this was just a thing that happened. And if you remember it, it is arguably the most crazy thing that's ever happened in sports history. But it's been 50 years, and so I just got to, investigate and report out what happened then and after and since. And it culminates in a whole bunch of stuff that I think people probably are into. Purely, again, if you're into crazy bad gossip and also robots.
Was I right when I said all of you would be interested in learning slightly more about a 1973 wife swap story?
Pablo's right. I remember it. I had just been hired by the Fort Lauderdale Yankees to be their official scorer, even though I was only 18 years old.
Wow.
And I remember at a spring training, Steinbrenner giving a big interview surrounded by reporters about Kekich and Peterson swapping families. And it was the most surreal thing. I wasn't, I was covering high schools at the time. The story had nothing to do with me, but peripherally, I remember the circus. And this is long before ESPN Sports Center, so you're right, Pablo.
We had a man on the ground. You could have been a man on the ground because you were around.
He was there for that.
Right. You were there for that. We just hit the Greg Cote wheelhouse. Put it on the poll, Juju, at Le Batard Show. Are you stunned that the Greg Cote wheelhouse is a 1973 story about wife swapping?
Well, it's not like it wasn't covered at the time, but Pablo's right. Compared to how it would be covered today, it wasn't, that's for sure.
Pablo Torre Finds Out is the name of the podcast. It's part of the Le Batard and Friends network. I don't think, Greg, you realize how funny it sounds that because of your breathing and that mask, there's a huffing and puffing quality acoustically to everything you're saying that's echoing off the inside of your mask.
Yeah, I can appreciate that. And whatever actor played the Phantom, I feel for that guy because this is hell on wheels wearing this mask.
That actor did have a $5 mask from Amazon.
$6.39.
Should we just do the reveal so he should stop suffering? I need a ruling from the shipping container on this. Should we what's the payoff here? Because the bruise isn't as bad as it was yesterday. I was hoping it would get worse. It did not.
Really?
Why would you hope that?
He apologized to me earlier for it healing so quickly.
I did.
Just visually, not actually health-wise worse. I just wanted it to look a little worse and then everything to get better because it'd make for better content.
Yeah. Well, 3 days ago, my right eye was circled by blood red. I looked like a raccoon, but it was blood red around my right eye. And the healing powers of the human body are pretty remarkable, and now it doesn't look nearly as bad.
All right, well then just reveal it so we can get on with what's happening here and just be done with it. Okay, there's the anticlimax of that.
Ta-da!
Yes, there it is.
So, I mean,
we should have just kept the mask on.
Wow. It's healing. Wow.
So. Dan, you happy now?
Yes, better.
Wait,
better.
Can you create a T-shirt with Greg's face and the caption is the healing powers of the human body are remarkable?
He's hideous.
He's hideous. Thank you, Mike.
Pablo, there are a number of different things that I want to talk to you about, but one of them is the back page of the New York Post, Joel Embiid and everything happening in New York, because Miami fans have something to be happy about in the next couple of rounds. Either Boston or New York is guaranteed to lose.
Is Pablo a Sixers fan or a Knicks fan today?
I don't know. Let's see where we are with all of this, Pablo. Take us through this back page cover.
Yeah, so Joel Embiid, if you're not familiar, as we wait for the back page to pop up here, Joel Embiid, his body feels like Greg's face looks. So he's not well right now, okay? But the most hated man in New York is the big 200-point font on the back page of the Post. Knicks fans set to tell Embiid how they really feel. And at this point, it just feels like bullying. I've spent the weekend reflecting on how I've been handling this story, and I have criticism for Embiid in a way that makes me feel like a guy who turned heel. That's what Mina told us, Dan and me on our group chat. What an incredible heel turn for Pablo to start killing Joel Embiid and get all these Sixers fans mad at him. And at this point, when I say to you, okay, that Joel Embiid had 1 point in the fourth quarter of this last game, that he had 0 rebounds in the fourth quarter of the previous game, that in the first 2 games he had 0 rebounds, I believe in the second half, or whatever it is. Lots of zeros when it comes to that guy. He had 1 point in the fourth quarter. So look, to me, it's just stating the obvious. And the fact that he is the most hated man in New York feels like this city's appreciation for a punching bag, for a piñata. It feels like it's piñata season on Joel Embiid.
Pablo,
so I feel for him, but
Pablo,
come on.
look, this is what is so great, fascinating, humanizing about all the storytelling that is in sports that's so wonderful. New York, Stugotz, is about to get so obnoxious.
Yes.
So obnoxious.
Yep.
And in comes the guy uniquely qualified in body type and character
To handle?
No, not to handle this, just to be a troll. And after 3 years of my body works perfect, and look here, chop, I'm bigger than everyone, chop, and all he is a troll, and he's welcoming the fight. But now he's got Bell's palsy, Stugotz. His face is drooping. He can't blink his left eye.
He should be wearing a phantom mask.
I thought you
Joel
were talking
Embiid
about
should be wearing
Taylor.
one.
We're going to go to Taylor. He's on a train. He's almost arrived at Madison Square Garden. But what's
Insane
about
you've
to
done this,
fall on
man.
Embiid's head, Pablo? This is the place where people are made into either heroes or crushed under it, because I would not want to be him headed into that.
Yes, the superpower of New York, the real thing New York City can sell is that it has this spotlight that actually melts people. It's a thing. That building specifically, more than Yankee Stadium even, that building is a spotlight. You shine on people, and you see whether you can actually destroy them. And Joel Embiid in the fourth quarter, the reason I say the fourth quarter is because it is a proxy for pressure. And pressure has never felt more palpable than in the Garden when it's sold out and the Knicks are onto something. And they're onto it.
No, and they just trampled your building, so that after the game, you're saying you're pissed off because New York, hey, wasn't Philadelphia sports town. Stugotz, I would not want to be Joel Embiid. My body doesn't work right. The stress is in my face. It doesn't allow my left eye to blink. New York is coming for me, and I don't know what to do about their little guy. And then they start offensive rebounding, and I can't get Hartenstein off my back. Like, I wouldn't want to be him tonight, and these are the nights. Hey, Joel, MVP, can you put up 50 even though your body doesn't work?
I mean, I understand what you're saying, but Joel Embiid's going to be fine either way.
I'm just saying it would scare me is all I'm saying.
I understand, but Joel Embiid lives in this place where if he wins, great. We'll celebrate him tomorrow. And if he loses, no one's going to blame Joel Embiid
what I'm
because
saying,
he'll blame everyone else.
He cares very much. He's playing the way that he is because his body is broken.
Yep.
No human being with their body in this condition would want this set of circumstances falling on their head.
It depends on the athlete, Dan. Some athletes welcome this.
Okay,
Michael welcomed this.
Not if your body doesn't work right, Stugotz.
You remember the flu game?
Not if the Bell's palsy is in your face. It's a stress disease.
I understand, but the great athletes, they look forward to tonight, to shutting up that crowd. Say whatever you want. I'm going to shut you up. We're going back to Philly for Game 6.
And I am telling you, as we sit here today, I'm not as brave or strong as the great athletes. I would fall apart under these conditions.
Okay.
What I'm saying is that I've watched Joel Embiid now for almost a decade, and I have not seen, and this is the criticism I have of him. He has not risen to those moments. I got people really mad at me because I said he needed to step up in a big game. And of course he scored. He has the greatest postseason resume this postseason of his entire career. He scored 50 the other night. And that is still true alongside the fact that at the end of a game, it doesn't look like he is seizing the moment. And I get that this makes me sound like a every Philadelphia sports fan, I suppose, which I count myself as in the last decade, for the Sixers, we turn into sports radio callers because by the end of it, you're just yelling at your television and saying to somebody, be better. And yet with Joel Embiid, I do think that he has not shown a comfort under pressure. And when you're the guy who's the troll, when you're the guy who is so fun because you look like you don't give a, the fact that you look like you're giving every single F, sorry, Roy, that's the problem now. Is that, oh, right, you're the opposite of your brand now. You look scared and broken. And the latter, I understand physically. The former is what makes me want to call into a radio station.
It's fascinating, just storyline from the idea that if you're watching this the way Pablo is, from the start of the process, this is 15 years of Northeast basketball. New York hasn't mattered for 15 years. Philadelphia has been building, and all they have to show for losing on purpose and embarrassing themselves is this broken thing that now falls under the light of the magnifying glass when the sun is burning ants. It's like, you're what's left of this. Go save it in Madison Square Garden under impossible conditions. Except you're the best player on the floor. You're the MVP.
Yes. Yes.
This is where these stories get made, Stugotz.
You're calling these impossible conditions. He has a great number 2 in Maxey. The team is good. They made a mistake with Jimmy Butler over to...
I'm talking about his body, Stugotz.
I get, Dan, I get the body part. But
you don't, though, is what I'm saying. You don't.
He's still playing at a very high level, even while broken.
I know, but you're asking him to play at a higher level.
Yep. Flu game.
Okay. It's like watching a 7-foot Greg Cote play center. That's what Joel Embiid has been like all year.
Thank you.
I don't know if that's a compliment.
It is.
I'm sitting right in the middle, Stugotz, of a hugely weird sports time in South Florida.
Yeah.
The pandemic made everyone crazy. The last 5 years of pressing the gas on sports. We're just going to inundate you with all things in sports. There's been an era of Heat basketball played over the last 5 years. And we have burned through the Jimmy Butler years. The last 15 years, listen to what I'm going to tell you here. The last 15 years of basketball has been dominated by LeBron James, and he's given us 20% of what his economy is. He birthed a sports movement in a town where nothing won, nothing grew. What he and Dwayne Wade and those guys built is the only thing worth it in this town for 20 years in sports. The Dolphins gave us one season. The Panthers have been bad forever. And today, people are tuning in nationally because we're an obnoxious Heat show about to watch Boston and New York play for the top of the conference. And what happened at the arena last night, if you're watching the end of an era, there's something heartbreaking in it. But at the very same time, the Florida Panthers, who Greg Cote's ready to make an announcement about. Are you guys ready? Because
wow.
Greg Cote came in here, and yes, he's Homer Man, but Greg Cote came in here. Are you ready to make this announcement, the only real big announcement we had today?
I am. I'm ready. The Florida Panthers, for the first time in 30 franchise years, are going to raise the Stanley Cup. They're going to win the championship.
Wow, hoist the cup.
Listen, it's a great season for the NHL. I can never remember as many 100-point teams. Great season, tough competition, I get all that. But the Tkachuk trade turned a key. Paul Maurice is one of the all-time great coaches.
Why are you guys, hold on, can I stop you for a second?
Because Roy
Greg?
is rivaling Tony Kornheiser in I Got That Right at this point. Just dejected
I said that.
Well, he said it first.
I
mean,
said that already.
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm in that case, I'm not announcing, I'm reiterating.
Thank you.
Why? Okay.
Piggybacking.
And one more thing. And Bill Zito does not get nearly enough credit.
You're right.
Okay, Dale Talon was an accomplished NHL GM. When they got rid of Dale Talon and brought in this guy who spent his career as an agent, everybody's going, Bill Zito, he has been great. He's made great hires.
I said all.
We've said
Panthers-
all.
He
of
said
this.
all that. Yeah.
We've
He
said
said
all that.
everyone has said everything.
Everyone-
First I heard
everything-
any of this, Greg.
Everything you're saying,
It's all been said.
It's all been said.
Okay, you got to understand one thing. Me maximum.
That's
Until
right.
I say it, it hasn't been said.
Boom.
Okay, understand that.
You're the mayor.
Until I say it, it hasn't been said.
Me
maximum.
maximum. Me maximum. Me maximum.
Me maximum.
Just happened to
Maximum. Yeah. Greg is king and you're his peasants. Me maximum. Yeah. My way is the only way. Yeah. If we share a hotel room, you know who you answer to. Me maximum. You. My comfort is of most importance. Me maximum. You. Say it again so they can hear it in the back. Yeah. When you are the patriarch, no one else's feelings matter. Vacation, me maximum. Restaurant, me maximum. Article, me maximum. Cody Show, me maximum. PFBI, me maximum. Back in my day, me maximum. Hee-haw 3, me maximum. It's hee-haw me. Yeah.
I think it's an excellent lean in. You should lean in absolutely to I'm going to be self-involved, self-absorbed media member.
That kind of thing. And you know it. Pride of a lion. Boat shoe. Miller Lite. And like a ride. All night. Falling down. Getting hurt. That kind of thing.
All right.
So good.
All right. But the point, Stugotz, I'm saying, I know that we can be hardened media sports people post 50 years old. This is an old room covering sports in this town for a long time. And we haven't had, I don't think, a night that felt quite like last night when I pair what happens with the Heat, where you're like, ooh, okay, Boston got better. And this is their prime, and Jason Tatum's played in a lot of important games. He's 25, 26, and they got hurt at the wrong time. And maybe the Heat can recover and fix it this offseason. But it feels like these two teams have been fighting at the top for 5 years, and now one of the tires is blown off. And in the other corner of our city, the hockey team, the most championship-worthy thing we've had in hockey down here, and it's just really good and exciting, take out that specific opponent that specific way. 6-1, get out of here. Your style of play dominated, but our style wins now. To beat that team that way, you could put it at the height of as good as Panthers fans have ever felt about their team's chances.
Have ever felt. Yeah, probably. Last night felt like a changing of the guard in multiple respects, not just hockey in state, which it would appear, and they've got a ton of salary cap questions to answer, but it would appear that we are potentially at the end of this Tampa Bay run. What a glorious run.
A run that built hockey in all of Florida. Tampa is a legitimate hockey town business.
What a bar to set. And even in last year's Stanley Cup run, something was missing for the Florida Panthers. It was the ability to go through Tampa. Now, I don't think Tampa has the same opinion of Florida that Florida has of Tampa, because Florida's always been chasing Tampa. But it felt like a changing of the guard in the state, and locally, it felt like a changing of the guard for your bandwidth, for your attention, for who is most championship ready. Now I have actual legitimate confidence that the Miami Heat will fix this offseason, because I don't think there's ever been a season in recent memory, very recent memory, where they've been told so definitively they are far away, that this isn't something that you can coach your way through, that there is a talent disparity in this conference in particular that needs to be addressed. I don't think that they've ever had the message sent to them so clearly. They will fix it. But back to Florida. It is absolutely their time. This is the championship window. It may continue for a few years. That's the expectation. You got a lot of young talent locked up to long-term contracts, but you got Montour and you got Reinhart, and you don't have enough money to pay both of them, it would seem right now. You locked it up for Sling.
No, now's the time.
Thank God.
But
now is the time.
Very obviously, if you've got divided attentions, okay, and people are here for the Heat tears today, and we will give them to you, except Jeremy has just popped up out of nowhere. He's not going to give you the Heat tears, I don't think.
I was here.
Why are you here?
It's my job.
But Ethan's here.
We were doing just fine. Your job was being done. I don't know why you had to come in
You
right
can
now.
go.
Do you want to celebrate the Panthers?
No, it's fine. I'll go.
You want to celebrate getting Miami's fourth-string quarterback?
Hey, welcome, Jeremy.
I would say this, Dan, that whatever we got from Jimmy Butler over the last 5 years is a lot more than we all expected.
Worth it, but we'll get back to
Yes.
that in a second because we will. I'm going to stay here for a while today. Stugotz, you know the local hour is always my favorite hour.
Right.
And when seminal stuff happens in this town, where you're part of the fabric of the story of the last 15 years told in sports. Stugotz, what's happening with this Panther team, okay? A couple of years ago, that Lightning team showed you that style. No, get it out of here. We were excited about it. We were excited about a high-flying hockey team headed into the.
But we didn't know about hockey back then.
What we didn't understand that
Do we now?
you've got to play like this. Well, don't play like that. Play like this. That's what we know. We don't know much else. We know. Don't play. Look, Tampa play like that, and we play like this. Don't play like that. That loses to this. Okay, now we're this.
You know, we also know something
That's
else.
hockey.
Now we're this, and you're that.
Nice
We also know
breakdown.
something else. A couple years ago, Bob bad. Now,
Better.
Bob's good.
Bob better.
Barkov
Good
bad.
Bob.
Barkov line now good.
Yeah.
Barkov line was bad. Barkov bad.
Defense was bad. Now, good.
Yeah,
Good defense.
Barkov, while the point production wasn't there for a little bit, the defensive performances certainly were, and you can't talk about this series without acknowledging first and foremost, I think, 5 players in NHL history have had 100-assist seasons like Nikita Kucherov just had. And he was very frustrating if you were a Tampa
Quiet.
Bay.
I don't know what it's like to watch Tampa hockey and have it be that quiet.
He was largely erased, especially on the special teams unit that he does the most damage as a power play maven. He was promptly erased by guys like Barkov, Stenlund when he was in PK2. Forsling was just torturing him all series long, and he showed you that he's a bit of a specialty player. There's a lot of things that he can do, but what he does best can be erased when the intensity goes up to a certain level. And as we said yesterday, it's quantifiable. Totals go down, hits go up, block shots go up in the playoffs. You're playing a different game. The Panthers had to find that out because of Tampa. And I am so happy that this story has Florida doing that to Tampa because it was really missing from the last run that they had last summer.
My favorite part of last night, and Roy, I want to know if you got in on this in the press box, was late in the game. I think we were up like 5-6-1. Nah, 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 nah. Nah, nah,
You
nah,
cannot
nah.
get into that in the press box.
I did not do that.
Did you hum along with it?
No.
A little hum?
No.
The
Little
whole
toe tap?
It was
Little toe tap?
so loud. Like, it was the loudest I'd ever heard that song. It felt so good. That was the moment. It just felt like we were finally having our moment with the Lightning.
The barn was just top notch
Yeah.
last night, and
Barn burn
where
barn.
in previous playoff matchups between these two teams, you saw some blue sweaters and a fairly good amount of road representation. Not at all the case in this series, unless it shifted over to Tampa, where you saw a lot more red jerseys than you have in previous series. I know, I've been there. The state has changed.
I love journalist Chris Cote imagining that in the press box, Roy Bellamy is doing
knock it
that
off.
chant.
He was tapping along.
He was.
Come on, Roy.
No, I had a smile on my face when it happened. But I was not tapping.
Dworky and Belly
That's essentially a
were singing along.
breakdance routine.
Right.
Come on, Dworky. Was Dworky singing?
No, he wasn't there. Spring break with his kids.
What?
So he's
Jeez.
back at
Priority.
Casa Dwork.
Jesus.
Casa Dwork.
Outta here. Jeez.
We were thinking of new names for that show.
Yeah.
Dork Belly.
Oh, I love that.
Belly boys.
Dork Belly. Belly
Well, 'cause we
Belly
found-
and Dorky.
We found out that Roy in the hockey world is known as Belly, and everyone calls him Belly.
That's a hockey thing, yeah.
One person called me Belly, and that's what you got from that?
Yes.
That's
No
a hockey
falsehoods. You
That's all
had
it
you
takes.
had an interview last week on Puck Boys where the guest was calling you Belly the entire interview. In the video we saw from Tampa, Dworky was calling you Belly.
Belly Laughs is a good podcast
wow.
name. Belly Laughs.
You guys really want me to change
No
the name of this?
Dwork.
Well, we're having it's a
a better
struggling.
name,
I'm going to
We
say
want
it's
Hockey Roy.
I'm
It's
gonna say-
called the hockey show.
I'm going to say it's a struggling hockey show.
It's
Whoa.
struggling?
Wow.
It
It's
already got
struggling.
a spin-off.
Yeah.
All right. doesn't mean it can't soar to great heavens
Get
because
It
Should that be the
travels.
title?
I don't
Yeah.
necessarily
Started.
think Tampa Bay Lightning trivia was a step in the right direction.
yes, it was. That was that was the beginning of a soaring ascent into whatever belly door,
We're taxiing
or
to the
dork
runway.
belly.
Yes, exactly.
Whatever it is that it becomes.
The
But
Boulin Wall was a good tidbit.
When
for
you
those.
asked the name of the Panthers goalie when they made the finals in 1996, and you said he's named after a bug, what bug were you thinking of?
A hornet. What bug do you think I was thinking of?
a bee,
It's a bee.
Beezer.
Van
Right.
Beesbrook.
Yeah, how is
Beezer.
a
He's
beezer?
called the Beezer.
Famously had a bee on the back of his mask.
Yes.
See, some of us have been
Damn
watching
it.
hockey. We're an
Roy,
original 7
Roy,
market.
Do you not get your own joke?
Who do we want next? Is what
hornet?
I want to know. Carolina or
hornet?
As
Boston?
sarcasm.
Well, it's either Toronto or Boston.
Close, Billy.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I'm watching here.
I appreciate you guys celebrating today. You do have Boston and the Rangers coming up.
I wasn't sure if there was a reseeding.
I think
or
it's going to
what,
be.
you know?
I think it's going to be the Canes that come out of that matchup with the Rangers. But sure, but all great teams in the East.
Right. Okay. But the Rangers, Stugotz. I
They're
don't know
good.
whether I'm gonna. Yeah, well, no, they're the best, right? Right. They won the Biden's Cup.
Yeah, President's Trophy.
President's Trophy.
Means
yes.
But
nothing.
that's cursed.
Right.
The Biden Cup's cursed. Everybody knows
It
that.
is
But
cursed.
Greg Cote was laughing at his son. I will tell you, Chris, that absorbing this on behalf of the audience, while understanding exactly the emotion of being near the Sawgrass Mall, singing "Na Na Na Na" at the Tampa Bay Lightning, I can totally see how Cody's kid, his heart soars, loving sports, and it feels like an emotional moment because you're knocking out that team. It means something. They're worthy champions. Like that team is terrifying, and that organization has made taught Florida Panthers what they had to do in hockey, and then they trade for Tkachuk, and everything changes. And now Tkachuk is looking at Barkov and saying, he's been amazing. He wins all the faceoffs. It's all the hits, all the blocks. Like Barkov is out there look. I don't think there's been a hockey player who's disappointed Mike more than Barkov over the last few years. You hate him in the playoffs.
Well, no, Bob and Barkey during the runs that didn't end with a Stanley Cup Finals appearance that ended at the feet of the Tampa Bay Lightning. They would go missing. They were inconsistent. Barkey, he's a tricky player to even talk about because he does a lot of things that you really need to know hockey to realize what he does. So I'm really happy that he had that type of performance, a game-winning shorthanded goal, and then the second goal to bag a brace to really show people why exactly he wears a captaincy, because he's a bit of a different type of leader.
It was offensively you were disappointed in the series prior.
In the series prior. Like defensively, he would always do it, even though we had a much better game plan this time.
Barkov has been complained about more during the postseason here the last 3 years than any other Panther I can think of.
Bob,
Ekblad was up
Ekblad,
there.
yeah.
He was hurt. He's been hurt.
Ekblad is always going to be hurt, and that's part of the evaluation that you do right now. But Barkey, now that Patrice Bergeron has moved on, Barkey is the best two-way center in that sport. You can make a solid argument for, and I don't know what the award is called.
Selke Trophy.
The Selke Trophy. But he should perennially be named a finalist. By the way, Bobrovsky, a finalist yesterday, was named for the Vezina. He started a little slow, but then he got stronger as the game went on, and I think it's hugely imperative for their playoff and championship chances that they get this rest now. Not just for Sam Bennett, but also it seemed as though Bobrovsky, especially in that Game 4, was showing you could use a bit of a breather.
There he is, one of the all-time favorites in the history of our show, Ron Magill. Look at him. He's one of the all-time favorites.
I would say he's the favorite.
I don't know. I mean, he's got the highest Q rating I know of. No one doesn't like Ron Magill, excuse the double negative. He did a book with Greg Cote. He got Greg Cote to work hard. That is hard to do at this stage in his career, but he made Greg Cote care about an animal as well.
I wrote a book without working.
A what?
You wrote a what?
A book. Sorry. I don't know what happened there.
Wrote a bic?
Stugotzbook.com.
Let's have that as the promotion, please. Let's have that be the commercial for I wrote a book. Or
I wrote a bic.
Order today, and you get an autographed copy of my bic.
You wrote a
Okay,
razor.
There's no selling out around here. We try to keep it about the art and the book that they did together. I will tell people, because we're selling books around here today.
Yeah.
Greg, when I make the joke, I don't know that you've made a lot of adult friends late in life because you respect them so much that you would take the time to work very hard for a year to craft the book about his story. I feel like you and Ron became friends in there, and I don't know you to make friends late in life.
Right. I wouldn't have done the book, and I was thrilled to be asked. I wouldn't have done the book if Ron wasn't such a generous person, great at what he does, a champion of animals and wildlife, an institution in South Florida. Everything about Ron made me want to work with him, and also it was something I'd never done before. I'd never not written sports, and so for the year or so that we collaborated on this book, it was a joyful side road for me to take. I love everything about it. I'm thrilled the way the book came out, and I'm glad it's doing well.
But are you friends?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes, we are. I think we were friends before then, weren't we? Greg?
well, we go way back, but I think we were casual friends. You know, I think we
Yeah,
were like
agreed.
friendly acquaintances and everything.
I never had you over my house for bacon.
That's true. And boy, that bacon was
It's good
so
bacon.
good.
Oh, my God, it's good bacon.
We ate it a couple of days later, believe it or not, and it was just
yeah, it's
fantastic.
good.
Best bacon I've ever had.
That's right. Greg's wife has never shut up about it.
Best bacon I've ever had.
I don't intend to throw a wrench in this friendship. You know me, I'm not one to do so. But I was looking on the social medias the other day, and I saw Ron promoting that he was going to be at an art museum, and he was going to be telling the story of Quasi. And I said, you know what? I think that's Greg's story and Ron's story together. And now it seems like Ron's going on tour telling Quasi's story sans Greg, and it rubbed me a little bit the wrong way. Kind of felt like a band
wait a minute.
was
Wait,
going out
Billy,
there
Billy,
and just one
Billy,
singer
Billy.
singing the
Let him finish,
Billy,
Ron.
Billy,
Ron, let him
Billy.
finish.
Okay.
Billy.
Yes, sir.
Listen, the Panthers are in the playoff. The Heats are in the playoff. It's not like Greg doesn't have a ton of stuff on his plate.
Perfect
So
time
I'm
to
trying
strike.
to pick up the slack promoting the book because both of us benefit when I promote the book. And I think he's just too busy. Plus, he looks like a freaking truck hit him. I don't want to put him in front of a bunch
Thank
of kids looking like that. It's going to scare him.
It would. You know what? Ron promoting the book without me rubs me in the right way, baby. And let me tell you why. I did two. Yeah, I did two.
Taken to a bowling
I
alley,
did.
am I right?
I did two combined book promotions with Ron. One was at his zoo, and one was at Books and Books. They both attracted sellout crowds. They were wonderful events, and now I am thrilled that he is still promoting the book on the ground floor, without me, because as he says, I have a lot on my plate with work. Plus, I have almost no interest in speaking to a 35 women at a book club.
You
Sorry.
got to sell books.
I know.
What
I
do you-
mean,
what do you-
unless they're
wait a
all
minute.
buying The Pride of a
What
Lion.
do you mean?
Hey, just sold 100 more. Just sold 100 more.
What did you just do? Wait, you have.
Yeah,
what
edit that out. What I just
What
said.
kind of authoring promotion is that to say I wouldn't go ever to be with 35 women at a book club who are there to buy my book?
I mean, because Ron loves that enough for both of us. He's built to do
And
that.
it was actually about 60 women, and it was great. They all
you
bought
go.
books. It was great.
Perfect.
Let's be honest. Who do you want showing up to that event, Ron or Greg?
Exactly.
No, but I don't understand. It's not about who do I want showing up to that event. How are you actively against the people who are giving you money to buy a book and don't want to be around them?
I am actively for people who buy this book. They're some of my favorite people.
You just
on
don't want to
earth.
meet him.
Okay,
You just don't
they're-
want to be in their presence.
They're book lovers, and I love them. Believe me.
But you wouldn't want to go to something like this.
Not particularly.
Fair.
But this is how a book gets promoted. Books aren't doing great, you know, Greg?
Yeah,
Books,
this one is.
No, but I'm just saying in general, reading.
Right.
Reading is not something that people are putting in their hands anymore.
Wait,
Well,
what?
It's true. I mean, nowadays people listen to a book and they call it reading. Bulletin. If you listen to a book on
Not
an audio
reading.
thing,
Thank
you
you.
haven't read a book.
Wow.
I've read plenty of books.
I'm sorry.
But
If
your
you-
pick's going to be on audio,
if
isn't
you,
it?
If you listen to a book, you haven't read a book. I mean that literally.
If you've read Heat 2 and I've listened to Heat 2, we both know the same amount about Heat 2.
Okay. If this is how you listen to a book, if this is how you read a book in your earbuds, you're consuming a book, but you're not reading a book. Reading is a tactile experience. You have the book in your hand.
Okay.
You're actually
Fine.
physically turning
Semantics
pages.
game.
Okay.
But I've consumed that book just as well as you've consumed it.
You have consumed it, but not as well.
What do you mean?
You've taken the secondhand road.
Yeah.
You've taken the easy
Who
way
are
out.
you to tell me reading retention is better than audio
You know who's
retention? I'm
reading
an
that?
audiophile.
You know who's reading that book? The person speaking to you is reading that book.
That's
Yeah,
true.
and then they did a bang-up job. You
Okay.
should hear the
You're
De
not
Niro
reading it.
and Pacino impressions.
Okay,
It's the same guy.
Okay,
Really?
you know what? People agree
Talent.
with me.
Wait,
If
what do you
don't
mean
read a
people
book-
agree with
if
you?
you don't,
He's
if
right.
you're hearing a book, you're not reading a book. I'm not degrading people who do the audiobook thing.
No.
I'm just telling you it is
Yes,
not.
you most certainly are.
It is not a book reading experience.
Greg, you're going to do it. The audio version of a book.
I mean, I don't know. Ron, is this even out on an audiobook? I have no idea.
If you and him did it, and he wait a minute.
I
wait a
would
minute.
read the
Wait a
that
minute.
book.
So wait. So this,
Audioly.
I can't believe you guys haven't already thought of this.
Ron has to do this.
Wildly unsurprising.
Quasi.
What Mike Ryan is, if you guys were to do it that way, with Billy popping out of the shadows
Well,
saying
hold on,
Quasi's
I don't know about
name
this.
that way, if you guys,
Dan's got a lot of ideas for book companies.
He really does.
what I would say, if
He's a delegator.
if Ron and Greg poured into the evolution of book promotion an audio version of this book with the sound effects that Ron makes, you just said that you're having a better experience than reading because you get the Pacino impersonator. It's not even, and he's saying,
Did
no.
you know that Pacino says that it's not well known, but that character that he played in Heat was a coke addict. They just wanted to be very subtle with it.
Okay, that's
And
why
his performance was pretty
that's
subtle,
why
if
he
you recall it
downplayed
correctly.
Yeah, okay, understood. But they never had him using cocaine. The point is, Greg, you're actively not promoting your book. You're being against your customers.
No.
Oh, he is
au
promoting it.
contraire.
Every time I see him, he's got the book right in front of him. That's more than I can say.
Thank you. I'm promoting it right now.
Exactly.
It's a life-size book. It's not a giant placard like that.
It's
but
also
it is
flashy. When I read a book, all up in here. I don't need to be showing
Is
people
that
I
right?
read it.
When you, by the way, when you read a movie script, you haven't seen that movie.
I've seen it in my head.
Wow.
I've read plenty of scripts.
That's a great analogy, Greg. I got to go with Greg on that one.
Thank you, Ron.
There's just something to it, Greg, where you touch the pages, you feel the ink on your fingers.
Tactile.
Oh, tactile.
Tactile sensation.
That's right.
The book even has a smell.
It has a smell.
Ooh,
Oh,
do I smell
take a whiff.
Quasi?
Oh, take a whiff of that.
It's like perfume. Look at this beautiful lion. Look at this beautiful lion.
I'm a bit disturbed that at this stage in our career, the Ron Magill segment has become I wrote a bic. Selling Stugotz's book, and it's become "It Rubs Me the Right Way, Baby," as we just completely sell out, asking the listeners to read.
Tactile.
I mean,
Or listen.
When I say pick up a book, I mean it literally. Don't pick up an earbud.
Well, Greg, if your book was an audiobook, would you be all in favor of people listening to your book?
It would be wonderful.
Okay.
But I would still prefer they actually read the book itself.
But you're understanding that more people would buy it if you and Ron were doing the reading, correct?
Yeah, that's a problem.
But are you not understanding the evolution of the medium that would make reading a different thing for a different generation?
I have spoken to the Miami Herald about that. You can click on a certain thing on my column and have somebody dictate my column to you. But it's like an electronic. It's probably AI. It's an electronic voice. It's not me. I have volunteered to put my columns in my own voice, and they never followed up on it.
Okay, but newspapers aren't exactly thriving.
An audio
I
newspaper,
didn't say
though,
they were.
Dan, that would be it. That's an idea.
Game changer.
But
Yeah.
it's a way to increase traffic and
It's called the podcast. Yeah.
No.
No.
changed the game.
Listen,
Yeah,
guys,
quite a
I
bit.
agree with Greg. You can
Thank
go
you.
to
New
the
York
Herald.
Times does
and
one. Pablo Torre did one for a while. Now he's doing one with us.
No, but every story in the Herald, it goes, if you don't have time to read, click here to listen, and it sounds like a robot. It
Thank
takes
you.
away totally the effect of the article.
100%. That's and I grant you, it's a small example, but it's a way to maybe get a few extra
No,
readers.
newspapers have failed to evolve.
Right.
That is correct. It's one of the reasons that they're failing, and they
Correct.
were taken out so easily. That's one of the things that's appalling about everything that has happened to the American information system. Books are not thriving either, but one way to get them to thrive is to meet with 50 people at a book club
And thank God Ron's doing it.
Yep.
and to promote the idea that this should be read in whatever way you choose to consume the information.
Right.
I can't believe that you're shaming
Preferably-
me. I'm
preferably book
target demo right here, and you're just telling me I'm not good enough
No.
to consume your book.
Look, I'm happy.
I help your bottom line.
I'm happy that you're consuming books. What I'm saying is I think you're cheating yourself out of the experience.
Never had LASIK surgery. You don't know what
tactile.
reading does to my eyes.
He has a preference. That's
This is
all
a
he's
conscious
saying.
decision that I'm making.
He would like you to read the book, not listen to it.
That's fine.
But he's okay with you listening to it.
Don't
No,
be,
he doesn't seem okay with
Well, I
that.
think
mean,
he's okay when he gets money.
He's very highfalutin. You're
No,
ready
he's
to money,
saying
make the book.
he's fine with
Make
you
the audiobook,
consuming
I'll
it. You're
listen.
just not reading it, is what
Right.
he's saying. Yeah. Tactile.
Like if you can, if you listen to a book, just don't say, "Yeah, I read that book."
No, I read
you
it.
didn't.
I can. And I will.
Okay.
You can't smell an audiobook.
Thank you.
I wrote a book.
Thank you, Billy.
It's gonna make me laugh every time.
I wrote a book.
It's the perfect.
Stugotz.com.
That's the perfect way to promote it. We have to create a commercial around this. This is what has to stop the advertising train of Stugotz right
I
here.
wrote a book.
There it is.
Just
I wrote a book.
Build
That's a
it
quick
all
read.
around that.
Fast read.
There's nothing in there.
I wrote a book.
He's just taking money from the audience.
Hypothetically, if I were swallowed by a large anaconda, and I understand that it breaks the bones and whatnot, but if you've seen the late 90s film Anaconda, John Voight gets regurgitated and he even winks at Jennifer Lopez. Is that humanly possible to remain consciousness after partially going through the digestive tract of an anaconda?
It is possible, not probable, assuming that the head is still out and you're able to breathe. You can certainly get some very bad enzyme burns into the legs and such. But yeah, as long as you're able to breathe, which I don't think is going to be the case, because an anaconda is not going to start swallowing you until you stop breathing, until it's choked the life out of you. They don't crush your bones or anything. They just, they constrict around the vascular system and they don't allow you to breathe. So it's not going to start swallowing you until you're dead.
The Key West crocodile, saltwater crocodile, featured in Roadhouse, killing a man. Mike Ryan told me I was a fool for thinking that that was a ridiculous scenario. Am I a fool for thinking that a ridiculous scenario?
I didn't see the scene, but there's nothing being foolish about the ability of a large crocodile to kill a human. It's been done, unfortunately, many, many times. It's not something that people need to panic about. Every time you see a crocodile, the crocodile's out to kill me. That's not the case. But the crocodile certainly has the capability to do so.
You should be wary, though, in any marina that has saltwater crocs, because oftentimes saltwater crocs are hanging out in that marina because people are throwing fish into the water after they take back their hulls for the day. So if anything goes in the water, especially a henchman, that saltwater croc is going to pounce.
Well, yeah, and you don't have to say saltwater croc. Crocodiles here in Florida are not true. They're crocodiles that can be found in salt water, but the true saltwater crocodile is only found in Australia. That is a man killer. They can get to be over 18 feet. That's a very different crocodile than the one we have here, even though the crocodile we have here, the American crocodile, can be found in salt water.
Let me show you something here, video of a zebra. Tell me what we're watching here, Ron. Zebras, what are they doing?
They're standing in the middle of the street. This is probably in a place, I don't know, maybe South Africa or such.
Washington.
That,
No,
North Bend.
That's Washington.
North Bend, Washington State.
Oh, then they got out of
You don't think they're indigenous?
No, they're not indigenous.
So they're
not
invasive.
indigenous. I said what I said first because I have seen this in Africa where zebras will cross roads in different areas. They have, they transition through different areas, and sometimes it's through a bit, habitated places. But no, these are obviously zebras that were somebody's little herd that they had in one of their sanctuaries or one of their little, wild exotic animal resorts.
What is the danger of something like that to either the zebras or us?
The danger's to the zebra that's going to get hit by somebody. Zebra's going to run away from you. If you try to corner one, it can kick you, they can bite you, they can be but they're not going to come after you for no reason unless it's a mare protecting her foal. Zebras are not, it's like coming across horses. They're going to run away from you if you give them a way out. If you don't give them a way out and you corner them, they can be very, very dangerous.
Ron, it seems like there's more and more scenes like that where you see animals on streets, animals that have gotten loose from somewhere. I'm curious, in the history of Zoo Miami, what have been examples of an animal getting loose and all of a sudden wandering among people in the zoo, and has that ever been a perilous situation?
We've never had an animal kind of wandering amongst the people in the zoo. We have had some hoofstock, antelope, deer that have jumped out of an exhibit that something startled them, whether it be a loud clap of thunder or something like that. And as soon as they jumped out of the exhibit, they realized, oh my gosh, I'm in a place that I'm not familiar with. They jump right back in. So that's something that has happened, but it's never presented a danger to the public.
Ron, thank you, sir. If anyone wants to support the things that Ron is doing, it's money that goes straight to conservation and, of course, his Cadillacs and his upgraded wardrobe. But he's the one handling everything. There's no bureaucracy, and you'll just help people, like if you want to care about jaguars. And you could do so by buying The Pride of a Lion by Greg Cote and Ron Magill. Thank you, Ron.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one. Take care.
Greg, we cut you off. You had some Miami Heat thoughts for us, and I want to get back to this. But before I do so, it's being reported now that Joel Embiid has missed shoot-around this morning with a migraine. His status for tonight's game remains questionable. My instinct on Joel Embiid is to feel bad for him. I can also go the other route and say, you know what? He's under it. Doesn't really need to go to shoot-around this morning. Stay at the hotel. Don't even go out in the street. It's okay, Joel. Everything's hurting right now. Just go home and be at the game.
Just be there for tip-off?
Yes. Well,
right.
I don't know that I would say migraine. If it is indeed a migraine, I would feel very bad that the pressure that this person is under is making his face fall apart. Like, he's already played a playoffs wearing a mask. He's under a great deal of duress. I know these guys are muscles on top of muscles, and we expect them to endure everything. But he's a human being, and he's been saying with Jokic for 2 years, I'm the MVP. Here it is. Here's like his career has a chance to blossom, or he will be left behind because Anthony Edwards is here now and Jason Tatum is here now, and the league is going to be fought over the next few years. And this is what Philadelphia has wrought for 15 years of losing and embarrassment.
What he'll have to do, which I think he's trying to avoid, is just join other superstars and try to create a super team elsewhere or in Philadelphia. That's what he's trying to not do.
And I would not blame him or say it's cowardice if he does so. This is the weight these people are under. We are making fun of Kevin Durant. Stugotz, what just happened in Phoenix is pretty damn interesting, man. They mortgaged everything for right now, and they got caught between the league is being taken over by young people, and this is the year that Durant and Steph and LeBron, we can all say, oh, you're not close. It's a new time. Like, maybe you can hang on somewhere, but not the way you're built, not where you live now. The league's been taken from you. A guy in Denver took it, and he's got a whole bunch of people coming for him now who are OKC. Stugotz, that starting lineup in OKC, 99.5% of its points are being scored by people under 25 years old.
Right.
That's never happened. This young team, like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, people are about to learn, he's Anthony Edwards adjacent, and they're coming for the ogre. Like, they want Jokic, and everybody wants Jokic, but you're about to see where history gets made, stories get told, and everyone is impressed by Anthony Edwards. And God almighty, what a cool moment for Anthony Edwards to have his favorite player say that Anthony Edwards is his favorite player.
That's awesome.
What a torch for Kevin Durant to give to Anthony Edwards, that he is considered Kevin Durant's favorite player, and Kevin Durant loses to him in a sweep. Get out of here. You're the first team out. And he says, your league, kid. You're my favorite player.
I can't believe we're living in a world where I'm excited for Nuggets and T-Wolves. I mean, what a great series that's going to be.
It's a great series.
Amazing.
And you will hear now all of this that falls on Embiid. Karl Anthony Towns is going to get it for the first time. Anthony Davis has lived under it for a while. It's unpleasant. Like, I know we think these guys are giants, but it sucks, man. Thursday night, Charles Barkley, you're Anthony Davis. You're 30 and 15. He's saying, more street clothes. More. That's who you are. Yeah, I know you're great. More. We're Hall of Famers, me and Shaq. Are you going to be one? Like, one of the things I find fascinating about what just happened last night, I can't talk. Yeah.
Everyone gets in.
Yeah, no, but definitively.
Yeah, for sure.
Emphatically is.
Yes. One of the things that I just love about the storytelling of this time of year is that the demands on these people feel superhuman. I just told you I'd be scared to be Joel Embiid tonight. Man, New York's obnoxious, Stugotz. New York is great. New York, you want this fandom. It is so loud.
May I ask you, what is it specifically about Joel Embiid? Because you feel more sorry for him than anyone else in the national media landscape.
And he's not alone, by the way.
I understand. Like, he's got slight facial paralysis that in some cases often stresses the cause of it. Sometimes it's other things, but he can play out there. He's shown you that he can play it. I don't know why you're feeling so bad for Joel Embiid. He's had it pretty good over there. They've brought in superstar teammates for him. He's got to deliver.
He was delivering to near historic proportions before he got hurt this year. He was an MVP waiting to happen again before he got hurt.
And he's putting up 50 burgers. And I understand he's not the two-way force that he used to be, but he's going up against like Jalen Brunson.
Okay, but so this is my point, and this is where I would tell you the stories to me are the most interesting, because I believe, LeBron James getting knocked out of the playoffs last night, dominating all of the discourse for 20 years and making the league so much stronger than it was based on the strength of I'll be the next Jordan. The amount of pressure that we put on this human being for 20 years makes it so we're still arguing, is he the greatest? Is he the greatest? When what he's done for 20 years should be celebrated and applauded. Like, wow, amazing, huge pressure all the time. And now it goes out the door and gets fought over the remains of it. What Kobe left, what Michael left.
Everyone's chasing that ghost.
That's correct. But in the heat of how cruel LeBron James's age was, he's not the first social media athlete, but this crew remembers when LeBron James joined Twitter, and this crew here remembers the voice that carried as he took over the sport. That guy conquered it all, and I believe we were cruel to him on the ascent and felt entitled to it. Be better than Jordan. Be better than Jordan. It's a big ask for the Embiids of the world. Some men will live up to it. Some will lose to Antetokounmpo or Jokic.
Well, if you're just comparison shopping on pressure and stress on the body, Embiid, again, charmed existence compared to what we saw with LeBron. LeBron found a way. Now I know it is unfair to assume that Joel Embiid can be that kind of player. We're talking about top 2 all time with LeBron James. But he is an MVP. He is one of the greats, and he has never gotten out of the second round. Do it. You're going up against a team that is missing a max contract. This is not an overwhelming Knicks team.
No, it's not.
You're going up against Jalen Brunson. I mean, Dan, you're going up against Jalen Brunson.
He's supposed to be a better superstar than Jalen Brunson.
And to Mike's point, it's a great one. LeBron really went through it. Embiid hasn't been through anything yet. LeBron went through it for decades.
And so, agreed, Stugotz? By comparison, nothing. But I will just place in front of you the process, short-circuited mentally, not 1 but 2 first-round picks.
Mm-hmm.
Ben Simmons and Markelle Fultz fell apart mentally. I'm just telling you, the pressure cooker can eat up human beings. And you can say, do more, do more, do more. And his body can hurt, and he can give you 50, and he doesn't get the rebounds in the fourth. I understand. I'm simply explaining to you, LeBron James conquered that pressure cooker, and you and Skip Bayless were chasing him the whole time. You're not as great as you think you are. You're not as great as you think you are. That falls on Joel Embiid tonight. And I'm just telling you, the guy that overcomes it, I applaud it, bravery.
LeBron took out the Pistons. Look at the team that he had. He conquered it with, like, Drew Gooden. You've had Harden. You've had Simmons when everyone rated him highly. You had Jimmy Butler. They gave Tobias Harris a big contract. You have Daryl Morey, who's reputed to be one of the best GMs there. You've had good coaches come in and out of there. You have a former champion head coach right now. Like, he's got to, at a certain point, you got to live up. Or this is what happens on the other side of that coin.
I root for the best stories. The best story tonight is Joel Embiid, not healthy. Now he's got Bell's palsy, walking into the viciousness that can be MSG and shutting up that crowd.
It's a great story. The whole thing, this is what I love. This is what I love about playoff basketball.
And Taylor's going to be there.
Right.
Oh, where is Taylor? Where is he right now?
Train.
No, he's
He's going to meet up with us soon.
Fans have been buying him snacks all along the eastern seaboard and running it out to trains. Taylor is taking a 28-hour train that will drop him off stinky, 28 hours stinky at MSG. That's what Embiid's walking into, New York's ass crack today. It's been on a train for 28 hours.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz podcast.